Peace, y'all. Hello. Let's talk about House of the Dragon, Season 1, Episode 8. Okay, I haven't been back since Episode 1. Haven't been able to fit it into my schedule, but now I'm here. So I'm going to just go from here. I might come back in the future and backtrack and get the ones that I missed. But for now, I'm here, so let's go. So there are plenty of things that I noticed because I look at other reactors and everything, and I noticed so many things that, in my opinion, people are getting wrong. And you know how when they say somebody is loud and wrong, they be just as loud and wrong. They're like, they just state things as fact, as this is what happened, when it's not a fact. It may appear so, or things like that. But for instance, if they have a British accent, they be talking like they just, this is what it is. This is what happened, and this is the point behind this, and blah blah blah. And they got hundreds of thousands of followers and tens of thousands of followers, and I'm like, the state of the world today, they really are looking at them like, yes, that's what happened because the boy with the English accent said it. So, anywho, I'm here to give my take. And that is what it is. I could be wrong on some things. I could be right on some things. But I'm going to give how it clicks in my mind, what I see. Okay? So that's what we're going to do. So the first thing I am going to just touch on, and I'll get back to it, is Daemon and Aemond. Okay? Because I see so many people saying Daemon... Aemond is little Daemon, and is that his son, and this, that, and the third, and just thinking that they're so much alike. But I love Daemon, as you can see. If you see things I said in the first episode, now everybody coming around, everybody loving Daemon, so many people loving Daemon and seeing him in a different light, and seeing that he loved his brother and this, that, and the third. These are things I said in the first episode, and that's off of my vibe, because my vibe a little bit on point. You feel me? So, yes. Now we're speaking on Daemon and Aemond. So notice their names are anagrams. So clearly, if they're supposed to be, there's supposed to be a correlation or whatever to where you're supposed to associate Daemon with Aemond, because if you switch their names around, they have all the same letters. But to me, Daemon and Aemond are like, I don't know if y'all ever seen Carlito's Way. That's one of my favorite movies when I was young. Carlito's Way with Al Pacino. Al Pacino played the Puerto Rican boy, Carlito. So to me, Aemond and Daemon are like Carlito and Benny Blanco from the Bronx, okay? Which was played by John Leguizamo. So Carlito would say, like, when people told Carlito, like, Carlito, he remind me of you when you was young. Carlito like, what, who? That little maricon, the way you see me. He ain't nothing like me. And I feel like that's how Daemon is looking at Aemond at this point. Like, yeah, I see you, you know what I mean? But you ain't me, baby. And that's like me. That's how I look at, like, some of the young girls, maybe my family members or something. They be like, oh, she just like you. And da-da-da-da. I'll be like, is she? So anyway, all right. So moving on. All right, so let me see. Where are we going to start? So, in the beginning, they start off with Rhaenys. They start off on Driftmark. And so Rhaenys is talking to the Meisters about Lord Corlys, because Lord Corlys has been injured. He's been away for 6 years. And keep in mind, this is a 6-year time jump that's happened since the last episode. And so something happened to him. He pretty much got his neck slashed, I believe, and I believe he fell in the water, and now he has a raging fever. I think they said the black fever or whatever. So here come his brother Daemon, saying, because they said he'll be back in 3 days. Oh no, we can't wait 3 days. Oh no, we need to see what's up with this what they call it, succession. Who gonna take over if my brother died? Because people, I done seen people had that fever and they died and they was half his age. So we need to see what's going on, because this should be going to me. So anyway, that's how that started. So their oldest, Daemon and Lena, their oldest daughter Bela, lives with Rhaenys, Corlys's wife, because Rhaenyra let her go with her as a ward. So, keep her company and whatnot. She also probably there to, like, keep an eye, like, keep them up on what's going on in Driftmark and all that. But, yeah, so Bela sent the Raven to her dad and said, look, my uncle trying to go to King's Landing and argue for the succession because my dad is sick, what have you. So, that's that. So, I'm not going to go through every little incident that happened. I'm gonna just try to hit on the key points because I got notes here on my phone. So let's see. Okay, I also have it playing on a laptop in the back, but I'm not going through all that fair use and all that. So all right, so Rhaenys talks to Daemon. Rhaenyra talks to Daemon once he gets back from getting 3 dragon eggs. And she says, we need to go to King's Landing because Daemon is on his way over there, and and they're trying to, put my my son Lucerys's being the heir to Driftmark in question, and then that's in turn going to question my heir, me being an heir, and this, that, and the third. So they say, all right, they're going to King's Landing. So, boom, they get to King's Landing. Nobody greets them. Just one guy named Caswell. He's the one that greeted them. He saw Rhaenyra and Laenor when Rhaenyra was pregnant that time, when Alicent made her come up to the throne. She wanted to see the baby as soon as the baby was born, little Joffrey. And so that's when they ran into Caswell in the past. And he was basically like, if it ever goes down, I got you. I'm on your side. Or whatever. So he greeted them when they came, but no one else. So, all right. Long story short, Alicent got sidetracked. She was going to go greet them because even though her dad, Otto, as the hand of the king, he was being shiesty and didn't want anybody to greet them, try to play them and everything. She was, that's how Alicent rolled. Like, she was going to at least do the right thing and go greet them in her own way, and just like, even though she know her father acting funny, she like, I'm still gonna go see them when they come. But instead, her son Aegon took advantage. He forced himself on a handmaid or a servant named Diana. So Alicent got sidetracked. She had to go see about that. So she go and see the girl. The girl all hyperventilating and hysterical about Aegon forcing his little nasty self on her. And Alicent was real cold-blooded, when she was hearing the girl and everything, and she was acting, like she on the girl's side. But the way they kind of have Alicent laid out to us at this point, it's like when Alicent went to go hug her one time, she was like, come here, my child. She was hugging her. Like, I thought she would, like, snap her neck like, skirt. Because that's kind of how they have Alicent laid out to us right now. Like, because she just be so emotionless. And, and we kind of got her on a cold-blooded since she cut Rhaenyra last episode and everything. So I was on a side eye, like, watching her, like, what is she about to do? But no, she just paid the girl off. Basically, she probably wanted the girl to disappear. And she gave her the little plan BT to prevent her from having a baby or whatever. And something real funny I saw on this other page, Color Me Pink. She's so funny. She does these comedic, but you gotta be real hood to watch her. But she does like a little comedic viewpoint of House of the Dragons. And she said she was saying like it looked like Listerine, and then somebody in her comment was like, yeah, boiled Listerine. I was cracking up. So anyway, that's that. So meanwhile, they go see Daemon and Rhaenyra go see King Viserys. And so just so sad when they come in his room, his little Lego set has all cobwebs on it, hasn't been touched. And you know, when people get old and get sick, you could tell when they stop doing what they care about and everything, that is a bad situation. You know, so that was automatically sad right there. And to me, I understand, you know, it may seem like Alicent, you know, has his best interest in mind, but what I want to know is, okay, somebody get old and sick and they in there, you just leave them in a dark room. You don't clean off the stuff that they care about. You don't got no music playing. You don't got nobody visiting them. You don't got nobody sitting with them. Where's his aide? Okay, this day and age, you could get an aide paid for by the state to sit with you. So you telling me, rich as he was, they don't have an aide that will at least sit with him, talk with him, keep him company, give him, you know, a little will to live, you know, play some music, burn some incense, what have you. You know, he don't even look like he's being washed properly. You know, it's a mess. But anyway, so they come in there. All right, so I'm not about to go through that whole situation because I'm only gonna get the key points. But her and Daemon go in there, and you could tell they both are upset at the state that he's in. And even though Daemon start bringing up business about Corlys and the succession, it to me is more of Daemon looking at him as like, dang, when he see my brother, it's hurt, you know, but at the same time, like, that, he might die in like 5 seconds. Like, let me hurry up and say this, you know what I mean? And Rhaenyra was like, chill, like, and so she introduced him to the children. So they had, Rhaenyra's pregnant right now, and they also had 2 other little boys that they've had subsequent to the last episode. So they have little Aegon and little Viserys. So that perked Viserys' spirits, and that was good that they introduced him to the children and everything. So that was great. So, all right. So after Alicent goes to and gets rid of the girl, the what do you call them people? I'm trying to think of what they call them, like in a assault case nowadays, but the claimant or whatever. Then she goes to see Aegon. She scream at him, slap him. She gave him a little front of the hand slap. Like, nah, he need an open hand. he need a heavy John. But and he cried about saying he never enough for his mom and dad. You know, this, that, and the third. When, in a way, I can say that those boys, Aemond and Aegon, they haven't received, like, to me, the way Alicent is, the kind of mother that she is, like, she could only do her best of what she knows. And she wasn't raised, it seems, like, with a lot of love and care. She was more raised, like, as what you could do for the family, and here's your responsibilities, and this, that, and the third. That's why she used to pick her fingers like she used to do with anxiety and things like that. And she didn't really have that love like that. So then she had her children so young. You know, she was a teenage mother. And if you know anything about teenage mothers, you know, a lot of real young teenage mothers, they don't get their children that kind of love because they be in shell shock when they had a child. So you see, when she had her children, you would see her up in the window doing, and she remind me of a regular hood teen mom. She in the window, baby crying, and she big old baby, she patting the baby and stuff like that, and she give it to she had a nanny, you know, to be able to take the children off her hands, you know, and stuff like that. But she was shell shocked with them children. And a lot of times, and I'm no disparaging young mothers, because there are excellent young mothers, but a tendency of young mothers is they don't necessarily get that same calm, nurturing love because it's more like a burden. You know what I mean? It's a shell shock. It's a burden. So I could see that with her. Then Viserys, he didn't pay them proper attention or what have you. I feel like at first he was, but then Rhaenyra, she was so spoiled. Like back then I didn't even like her. When she was a young teenager and she was so jealous about the situation and everything. And I understood that, okay, you feel some type of way because your girlfriend got married to your father and had kids and everything. But when they were, if you remember, like around that hunt episode, when they were in like the carriage or whatever, and Rhaenyra was saying something like, and you such and such with Alicent Hightower's children, you know, but she ain't basically say, yeah, have no type of love for the children as her brothers. You know, she just called them basically like it type of thing. And I feel like at that time, that's when Viserys, he started like feeling guilty to love them, you know what I mean? And he started acting funny, you know what I mean? Till he started distancing from them because he had felt guilty to love them. That's how I feel about it. And then with Otto being, what's that word, banished for those 10 years, if Otto would have been there, he would have been like the disciplinarian that would have backed up and gave him some type of proper discipline. Because you see how he snatched Aegon up at Laena's funeral, so he would have snatched them up, so they wouldn't be quite so deviant probably, but he wasn't here either. So I understand why they wear it, okay? But it's no excuse to be going around forcing your little nasty self on people and whatnot. So that's that. All right, so what's next? Let me look at my laptop. Okay, on my laptop, it's on the part where they taking the babies. They still introducing Viserys to the babies. So, all right, so I want to backtrack to Corlys's brother Daemon when he was in Driftmark with Rhaenyra in the beginning, and he was talking about how Driftmark should go to him. You know what I mean? And she was telling him, like, that's not what my husband wanted or whatever. And he was basically saying, like, well, your husband just, his aspirations did a lot of stuff to mess up our family name, you know what I mean? And maybe I could salvage it or what have you. And so then, but one of the things that he said was, he told Rhaenyra, although basically I welcome your support, I do not need it. Okay, so I can't stand him. You know what I mean? He been annoying out the gate all the way from back when, all right, the first time he was annoying was when they were fighting the crab feeder. I can't remember that well. I need to go back and rewatch. But when they were fighting the crab feeder, he was doing all that complaining because they had been fighting for years, and I understand it wasn't working out, which was kind of like BS to me, because just because they in the cave, like, why you can't just take the dragon to the front of the cave and he just breathe fire directly in the cave? Like, I don't know. But so he was doing a lot of complaining at that time, and him and Laenor had some words, and Laenor like based him and basically said something like, man, you got all that mouth, but you don't really be doing nothing. You don't really be putting in no work for real, but you always got something to say in so many words. I remember him and Laenor having words, and I remember he was annoying back then because he was just complaining. I can't stand complaining behind negative people, and that's how Daemon came off to me. So then the next time he was annoying that I can recall was at Laena's funeral. They gonna have him get a eulogy. I don't know in what world you choose him to give the eulogy. Like, he is annoying. Like, and he gonna draw. He gonna say something. So he was talking about the blood. He was throwing shots during her eulogy. Like, funeral time, when somebody passed in real life, there's not the time for you to throw shots. It's not the time to be negative. But he was doing that even then. So obviously, yes, he is a problem. You know what I mean? In some form or fashion. All right. So I'm just saying, I ain't like the way he told Rhaenys, I welcome your support, but I do not need it. Like, okay. So, all right. And I want to go back to when Daemon and Rhaenyra went to go visit Viserys in his room, because this is another thing that I just see so many people, I feel like they off track with it, because people keep saying, oh, he had a problem with Daemon and Rhaenyra, and now, you know, it's cool, this and that and the third. My thing is, everybody seem to think that he has a problem with the concept of his daughter being with his brother. Okay, no, I don't believe that's the case. I believe that it was because Rhaenyra was a teenage. She was a young girl, and that was his baby girl. And like Daemon was all grown and nasty, messing with whores. I'm trying to keep my language better, and all of that. And he ain't want her, and then he was defiling her in public, like trying to embarrass her. He took her to a brothel. You know what I mean? Those was Viserys's main issues. Like, it wasn't just that Daemon is his brother and that's his daughter, because as far as I know, from what I heard, Viserys and Daemon's parents were brother and sister. So they already know what it is about all of that. So I just wanted to clear that up as well. I feel like that's another misconception. Okay. So, moving on. And I'll probably be skipping parts. Let me see what's next that they showing. Okay, so Allison over there with the girl Deanna. Oh no, now she yelling at Aegon. Okay. So Allison come in to see Daemon and Rhaenyra after she finished with her son, and they was questioning her about Viserys being on so heavy on milk of the poppy and stuff like that. Because when they were visiting him, he asked for his tea, and Daemon smelled it in his strong milk of the poppy, and that's why his mind so gone that like he couldn't even remember what they said a minute ago. He couldn't remember who Daemon was, kind of, and stuff like that. So they basically questioning her like, y'all got him all drugged up, you know. And to me, milk of the poppy, I hear everybody saying is opium, and yes, technically it's opium, and but like just to put it in current terms, you probably could relate it to opioid like Percocet. So like it's basically he popping perk 30s, you know what I mean? So you popping Percocets, your mind ain't gonna be right, you know what I mean, and stuff. You addicted, you know, and this and that. And so I feel like that's basically what's going on with him. But she say, you know, she giving it to him for the pain. And I'm not even going to get into all that because I'm trying to hurry up a little bit. I don't want to take forever. So, moving on, Rhaenyra asked her who's going to be overseeing Lucerys's claim to the Driftmark throne, and she says she will. So that's that. So Rhaenyra go try to talk to Rhaenys and try to make a deal with her because she want to have her like backing her up a bit. And Rhaenys basically saying like you killed my son so you could get married, and you trying to come ask me for something, like, get out my face. So that's basically that. So now Rhaenyra is feeling like more hopeless, like, oh my gosh, like nothing is going my way, like we dead meat basically at this hearing. So Rhaenyra goes back on a desperate attempt to go talk to Viserys, and you know he in there all perked out and stuff, and she go in there and cried at him, and she asked him about she said, you know, the Song of Ice and Fire that you told me about, do you believe it to be true? Because this is such a burden. You know, I thought I wanted it when I was young, but now it's so crazy. It's hard. And, you know, you divided the realm when you named me heir. And basically, like, if you want me to do it, like, I need you to stick up for me and my children. You know what I mean? So she put him under pressure on his deathbed and whatnot. And I feel like, yes, she is not accountable for her actions. You know, I'm Team Black myself for the most part. I love Daemon. I ride more with them, but I do see the angles. You know, I do see different angles. And Rhaenyra, she never seemed to take accountability for having those children the way she did. You know what I mean? Because even if her and Laenor, they didn't make any children like naturally, and he couldn't, you know, get aroused or whatever the case may be, they could have done something, turkey baster, something, and try to make a baby. Like, they could have tried harder. Because if she at least would have had one by him, you know what I mean? Things could have been so much better. So she don't be taking accountability. But anyway, she begged her dad. She was crying and stuff. And he was just laying there like, Tweedledee, look at the colors. So that was that. So now on to the next day. They're at the hearing, basically, in the throne room. Otto got his old raggedy looking self on Viserys' throne. He like, I speak for the king and this and all matters. So let's go. Let's do this. And so now they start making their cases. At one time, Rhaenyra, Corda's brother Daemon was stating his case, and Rhaenyra started interrupting him, and Alicent based her like, Rhaenyra, let him finish. Like, seriously, you'll get your chance. Hit her with the Judge Judy. And and so then right when Rhaenyra was about to start stating her case, then as soon as she started, the doors opened up behind, and everybody like, who is that? Like, everybody. And a lot of people was like, is that Corlys? Like, who is it? It was Viserys. And he came down, he rallied his last little bit of energy. He pushed it to come show up for her. And this is evidence of, I'm telling you, in my first video might have been long and not well done and not concise and maybe a little bit dry at times if you ain't stick with it. But every point I made in my episode 1 video, just like I said, everybody is calling Viserys weak and saying that he's so weak. But I'm like, no, he's not weak. He's just an emotional person, and he's not meant to be a king. He's not cut out to be a king, to make certain decisions that a king may need to make things better for the realm. He's not cut out that way from that cloth. He gonna do whatever his heart tell him to do. He led more by his heart, but that he not no sucker. Like I said that, and here you go. Because that right there, he got up out that bed. He made his way down. He took forever to get down there and whatnot. But it was so beautiful. He came with his little half a little Phantom of the Opera mask on and stuff. And it was just beautiful. And as he was coming up, somebody tried to help him. He like, I'm fine. And then his crown ended up dropping right when he was trying to make his way up the steps. And then somebody went to grab his crown. He was like, I said I'm fine. He turned around and it's Daemon. So that's another one of my points that I need to address that I also said in my first video, is that everybody always try to say Daemon want the throne. Daemon don't love his brother. And I said it in my first video. I said he does love his brother. And no, he don't want the throne. He just want his brother to respect him and know that he's the one who always gonna have his back, and that he need him by his side of all people instead of all these little people that's in his ear that he can't truly trust. And you know, Daemon has his issues and things like that, but no, Daemon loves his brother, and he didn't want his throne. He just wanted to be there, like be the right hand man. Like, yo, with us together on the throne, with my eyes and ears peeping things, and then if anybody get out of line, like, I got him. Like, why you gonna have anybody else right next to you? You know what I mean? So Daemon was hurt about that kind of stuff. So anyway, so Daemon come and put his crown on his head, gave him that respect, because I feel like Daemon, even though he felt his brother weak in a lot of ways, like he see him weak in them kind of ways, like letting people take advantage of him and things like that. He know his brother ain't no sucker, because excuse me, remember when he was messing with Rhaenyra and Viserys was kicking him and had him on the ground like, nigga, oh, excuse my you know, so Daemon know he ain't no punk. Trust me, I'm sure Viserys done got on him throughout their life, so he know he ain't no punk in that manner. But he's like, yes, that's he rallied. He was strong right here. So he just had more respect for him. So, boom, Viserys come up and like, yo, I'm confused. Like, what is y'all up here taking hearings on a succession when it's a matter that's already settled? Like, what's really going on? And so he was like, the only person who really could speak on Lord Corliss's wishes is his wife, Rhaenys. So then Rhaenys came up, and then she basically said, you know, my husband, he wanted Lucerys to take Driftmark, and everybody was shocked, like, and then she was like, and Rhaenyra offered me to marry Lucerys to, I forgot which daughter, but it's Baela, and I forgot the other daughter name, but Rhaenyra had offered her that time by the Goswood tree to marry Lucerys to one of her daughters, and Baela and Jacaerys to the other daughter. And that way, one of them would be the Queen of Driftmark, you know, ahead of the Lady of Driftmark, and the other one to end up being the Queen of the Iron Throne eventually. So it was like, yeah, so she took that. So now, Corliss's brother gets super mad, his crazy self, what's his name? Daemon. So Daemon like, this is a travesty. You break law. He like, you break law to make your daughter the heir, but then you trying to tell me what to do on Driftmark with my people. Like, that's not your place. And no, I will not allow it. And Viserys like, allow it. You know what I mean? He trying to be nice because he a sweetheart. He like, allow it. And he like, nah, I'm not going for it. Like, you can't sit up here and have her, and her kids is not even, matter of fact, her kids is, and she leave, and Daemon like, say it, because Daemon don't like him anyway. And so I feel like Daemon, he's like comedy, you know. This was some comic relief, you know, because the look on his face and everything. He was looking at Daemon, and he heard Daemon say it, and he really took it like playing chicken, like when you tell somebody like, I double dog dare you. That's what Daemon said, and the boy like, oh, you double dog dare me? Watch this. It was too funny. So he said, her children are. Then he took a breath. He said it out from his diaphragm. Bastards! Yo, I watched this so many times. Just the way he said it, so from his diaphragm with his every being, like he was like, oh, you double dog dare me? He was like, I ain't gonna whisper, I'm gonna say it, you know. So then he said that, and everybody was like, and Viserys, this is another funny thing. When Daemon first was talking about how the children don't belong to her, and you know, it's not his family and all that stuff, Viserys leaned back in the chair and looking like, what is he talking about? Like, and that's what he do every time somebody is talking about Rhaenyra and them children not being Laenor's, you know, he always be like, say what you trying to say. Like, what do you mean? What is going on? Like, he really got himself in denial so heavy. But he was leaning back in the chair like, what this boy problem is? What is he beefing about? So anyway, when he said the bastards, Viserys like, oh, now hold up now. And then he talking about, and she is a whore. Viserys, no matter how sick he is, what have you, Viserys stood right on up like, he pulled the dagger out like, I will have your tongue for that. Yo, that's my guy, man. He was already my guy, but this scene was just, So he was like, I will have your tongue for that. And just right at that moment, you just saw his head just fly off, and Daemon just smooth. And that's another thing of the respect that Daemon has for him. Because Daemon didn't pop off before he made sure that Viserys's will was what he was following. And that's the type of stuff that he wanted to do with him. Like, why he was mad at Viserys. Like, this is how we supposed to be doing. Like, yeah, as soon as you say, yeah, I'm a jump. You know what I mean? So that was an epic scene. I know y'all saw that and stuff. So I'm going to move on because I'm getting a little long with it. So that's that. He killed him like that. So, next thing. Okay. So, oh, I had said in my notes, I'm looking at my notes, that all them years Otto was probably rubbing smallpox juice on the throne. He probably been putting all type of excrement and all that stuff on the throne. That's probably why Viserys sick. But okay, I will not allow it. Viserys getting mad. I said Viserys getting mad. He said allow it through clenched teeth. Okay, and I said Aemond over there looking with the Zoolander face. Yes, tell me Aemond don't be having that Zoolander face. So, boom. Viserys had told Otto earlier that he wanted the family together for a dinner that night in the Red Keep. And keep in mind also, he denied Milk of the Poppy for that day. So he just dealt with his pain because he wanted his mind to be right. So now, they go to the dinner. Shoot ahead. They go to the dinner. Viserys come to the dinner. And everybody was all uncomfortable and awkward. And then Viserys stood up and said a speech and everything. And he was just basically saying, like, yo, I love all of y'all. Like, it hurt my heart to see y'all so distant. You know what I mean? We used to have love for each other. And we should have love as family. You know, he took off his family opera mask. And he was missing a whole eye. And his side of his face, his cheek was just gone. You could see the muscles in his face and everything. And it was so sad. Like, I wasn't all disgusted like how I see everybody else saying, like, they was so disgusted and stuff. I wasn't disgusted because it was like, you know what I mean? It was emotional. Like, look at him. Look what he go through. Like, and he really want them to look at him, like, you know, for what he is. And somebody had did this real funny John. They did the Thriller John. Like, soon as he took the mask off, then he turned around. They did the Thriller music like dun 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 dun, and then they showed him like it was funny, but yeah, it was real deep, and he just said that heartfelt speech and everything, and he touched them, and Rhaenyra hopped up, gave a toast to Alicent, and was like, you know what, no matter what me and you go through, like, one thing I do have to give you is, like, you've been faithful to my dad. Like, you really stayed, you took care of my dad and treated him with honor, and I gotta respect that. And my hat go off to you. And then Alicent came back and was like, you know, I appreciate you saying that, and we're both mothers and we love our children and we got more in common than we like to think or whatever. So they had a little moment. So Aemond, right? No, Aegon. Aegon was up there flirting with chocolate sister Jace's wife, and saying, like, if you ever want to know a good time, you know what I mean, I'll show you, and sorry you about to have to go through it with this nut dude right here, he gonna be corny. You know, he was disrespecting, but even Jace held it together and gave a toast to them. And so then eventually Jace got up and, because Helena stood up, and because she's married to Aegon now, she stood up and gave a toast to the girls who are about to get married and was like, it's not really so bad. He just mostly ignores you, unless sometimes when he's drunk. And everybody laughed, and she just so goofy. And she had also said a little prophecy, beware the beast under the boards or something. So I wonder what that's going to end up being. So Jace ended up coming and offering her his hand to go dance. And Aegon felt some type of way, because he don't have that kind of respect for his wife or whatever. And they was truly happy doing this little hop to the hop to the hop to the side, hop to the hop. And so they danced and they was having fun. Everybody was having a good time, and Viserys was just sitting back looking at it, like, and you could tell he was happy and satisfied. Even Otto talking about something. I don't know if he was really happy or what. I was so surprised. Look at Otto having fun. So everybody was having fun. Oh, and I forgot when Alicent made her toast, another thing she said was, you'll make a fine queen, basically. And Otto was like, so anyway, it seemed very genuine to me. It seemed very genuine from the girls at that moment. You know what I mean? And so that was it. Viserys, he was happy. He did a little smile, and then he ended up like his head started hurting. He couldn't take the pain no more, so they had to carry him out. So after they carry him out, everybody know, it's probably about to go left. So a pig ended up being brought out and placed before Aemond. And I see a lot of people saying that Luke did that on purpose, but I don't feel that way. I don't know, but I don't think that Lucerys did that, ordered that pig. I think it was just a coincidence, because that's not even their castle. Like, and after seeing Aemond fighting because they saw him fighting Sir Kristen earlier, and he was a total complete beast, and they was shook, they were scared. So I really don't think that he asked for that pig to be brought out there. I think it was just a coincidence. And then since the mood was so light and everything, he saw it, and then he just looking at his cousin like, what's the odds of that? They brought a pig in front of you, and try to laugh. But that was it. Like, Aemond like, I know this dude ain't laughing. Like, you took my eye. Like, I ain't killing you, but you ain't gonna laugh about it. You know what I mean? So he ended up standing up, doing a toast. And he said, I like to toast to these two wise, kind, strong boys. So, they dad name was Strong. And so they end up, Jay said, don't you say it again. He's like, what? Why I can't call you Strong? You don't think you strong? And he started walking over. He was walking over to Jace when he was saying that. And then Jace calling himself socking him like, but Aemond just ate it like, that wasn't nothing. Like, and so they was about to fight, basically, and everybody broke it up and stuff like that. And Allison was like, why would you do that? When everybody was, all these people here, everything was so good. Like, he was like, Mother, I don't know. I was just complimenting their house. Like, so that was that. Daemon ended up walking up and like, what's that? They call like bucking up, like to Aemond, like, what you gonna do? Like, it's over. And they sent the other boys to their room, and then Aemond like looked at Daemon, and then he went away smiling, and Daemon was looking at him. And that's what I'm telling you. That's Benny Blanco from the Bronx, Carlito. You better pay attention. Don't sleep on that bull, because that's what Carlito did with Benny Blanco. If y'all have not watched Carlito's Way, you need to watch it. It's a very good movie. But don't sleep on Benny Blanco from the Bronx, Daemon, okay? So that was that. Rhaenyra and Allison ended up having a touching moment. Allison touched her on her arm and was like, I really wish you wasn't leaving so fast. Rhaenyra like, I just got to take the kids home. I'm going to just drop them off on Dragonstone. I'll come back on Dragonback. And she was like, me and your dad are really like that, So that was that. It seemed like everything was cool. Now you cut to Allison in the king's bedroom. And Viserys is just like really sick and stuff. And Allison is in there with him. And then he's delirious. She gave him milk of the poppy. He's delirious. And he starts saying, he was like, Aegon's dream, And she was like, Aegon our son? And he like, the Song of Ice and he like, and she like, I don't understand, Viserys. And he like, to fight the dark and the cold, the prince that was promised, it's you, She was like, Aegon our son? And whatever. And so basically she's misinterpreting. He think he's talking to Rhaenyra. Allison is misinterpreting it, thinking that she's saying a little children of corn son, little Aemond, Damien's son, is supposed to be the king. And a lot of people are saying that she's doing that on purpose, and she just hearing what she want to hear. She know daggone well that's not what he meant and everything. But to me, I recall back in the early episode, like this is another thing that I see everybody missing. When they were at that bonfire back near like the hunt episode, then he was all drunk, and he was telling Allison why he was feeling so guilty about having more children, and about how he pressed his wife to have more kids because of that dream that he had about his having a son who was born with a crown on his head. Because you remember in the beginning, he told Aemond about that when she was in the bathtub. But then he also told Alicent about that dream as well. And so that is a dream that he spoke about his son being born with a crown. So at least she does have a point of reference. It's just not clear out of the clear blue sky. So at least she could misinterpret that a bit. You know what I mean? So she took it like, I understand, my king. So Lord knows what's about to go on with that. And that was some BS as well. Because she left and the bull died right there. Like, you really, that's my thing. She be there for him in a lot of ways. But not not all the way. Because, like, come on, he on his deathbed. Nobody in there. What they came and found him in the morning, dead, cold? Like, why? He's a king. He should have somebody 24/7. And then you his wife, and you know he very close to death. So, I ain't care for that. So, that was it. That was the end. Like, at the end, he just started, it was real emotional on that little scene when he died. And he like, no more, no more. And then his hands were clenching up, and then a tear came down, and then he said, my love. So it's like he saw Emma, his first wife, who he always loved. That's who he loved the most, period, point blank. And so she welcomed him to the afterlife, no doubt. And he's finally out his misery. So I'm not sad that Viserys died, because he was suffering very much so. And, ooh, I gotta go to the bathroom. It is getting dark. But that's the end. So I'm looking forward to seeing the next episode. And the Eagles about to play the Cowboys. And so I'm about to go. But I love y'all. And I'll see y'all next episode. Peace.